When Dana Perlman left her girls in Lou and Danielle's care, they took their parenting responsibilities very seriously. They were especially proud of how Natalie and Jessica have matured into accomplished adults, and they were delighted to welcome Jessica's husband, Simon Taillard, who is with us today, into their family.
When my mother died 22 years ago, my sister and I were very young. To comfort us, people kept on describing how beautiful, clever, funny, talented, and great my mother was. As a child, I loved having such a wonderfully perfect mother, but as I grew up, it started to bother me. She was too unreachable, unreal. I loved it then when Danielle would tell me she was a great procrastinator, when Lou would tell me how disorganized she was, when my aunt would tell me how messy she was, or when her friend Yanina would tell me she usually made poor choices when it came to men. I loved it because I didn't remember all those things. I remembered how pretty she was because we have photos, and how talented she was thanks to a video of her playing the piano, and how loving and caring a mother she was because even after 22 years, I can still feel it. But I also loved people telling me about her imperfections because it made her more real. I cherish all those details because they make my mother more tangible, more alive, more human, and more humane. I don't always understand the apotheosis of people who are dead. It creates a distance between them and me. I'd rather remember them as when they were alive. With their good sides and their bad sides. I want to remember Lou completely, as when he was alive, with his endearing and annoying ways as well, because that's how I love him. Lou was sometimes irrational. He could easily get into arguments. He has sometimes hurt my feelings, even tormented me and made me cry. He could be unfair, push my buttons, and make me feel rejected. And I resented all those fights and harsh words because I loved him so much, and I hated being in conflict with him. But now that he is gone, I do not want to forget these aspects of Lou, because I want to remember him, not as a perfect yet dull image of himself, but as my Lou. My Lou could get on my nerves and anger me because of the very fact that we knew and loved each other so much. Lou was not a flawless angel. He was a beautifully imperfect human being. He was the one, when we came to visit, who would make us breakfast in the morning, full of energy, as Danielle struggled against sleepiness. He would always say, "Someone needs to be the mama here." He was the one who, with Danielle, made Natalie and I discover so many things: art, beautiful movies, books, songs, which he often knew by heart. When we would go to the restaurant, he always ordered too much food, although Danielle would tell him not to, and we would end up with piles of great food. And when he cooked at home, it was always so delicious, and Danielle and he always made sure their table was beautiful, because each moment of beauty counted. He loved language. He would write poems in the middle of the night. He knew by heart pieces of Shakespeare's plays. He loved specific words, his favorite one being fuck. He loved using it in all possible contexts, such as when he would describe his relationship with Danielle as 30 motherfucking long years. He would give me advice. For instance, as a teenager, I was quite shy and I didn't always feel at ease meeting new people. One night, when several of Lou and Danielle's friends were at their flat, Lou took me apart and told me, "Jessica, by the end of this evening, you need to be able to tell me details about all the people you'll meet." Because I had a purpose, because I didn't want to disappoint Lou, and also because it suddenly seemed fun, I managed to overcome my shyness and really discover these people. He laughed and talked a lot and loudly. He loved being outrageous. And yet, if you knew him, you also knew situations when he himself could be shy or could even blush. He loved to walk. With him, I have walked miles in New York for the pleasure of walking, of discussing while walking, of discovering the city. Whenever Natalie and I would land in New York, we would go for long walks in the city just to fight our jet lag. At Christmas, we would go admire the beautiful window decorations in Manhattan. In the summer, we would walk at night when the air was cooler and the city so different. Lou was generous, patient, fun, loving, interesting, and so many other things. Evoking his bad sides earlier doesn't tarnish the fact that he was beautiful. He was a complex, intricate, and very special person. It makes me think of a quote from Walt Whitman that Robert recently reminded me of, a quote that Lou often used to say. "Do I contradict myself? Very well, then I contradict myself. I am large, I contain multitudes." I love you, Lou. I love you and all that you contain.
Really? Lou could be annoying? Who knew? Lou wrote something about Jessica and Natalie's mother. And here are his words. When our friend Dana died in 1991, she left, in addition to two extraordinary girls, now in their 20s, a worldly estate consisting of one ring and one beautiful Steinway L piano. Besides mechanisms and their use as furniture, pianos have spirits and histories. You either believe that or you don't. I believe this piano has a special spirit, part of which was transferred to it by a woman with an immense soul. I've not known a lovelier person in all my life.